HyperScience automates data entry for global 2,000 companies and currently a handful of major world governments. Data entry is a funny kind of problem. It's one that's growing. I think people associate it with artifacts of antiquity, paper-driven processes. But in fact, it's the inevitable consequence of modernity. More and more documents are actually generated by computers and then read by computers. Things like bank statements that are generated by a bank and then read by a lender when someone is reviewing your mortgage application. To give you a flavor of the kinds of problems that data entry is involved in, to give you a sense of just how pervasive data entry is, I'd like to tell you 3 very short stories about data entry. Imagine that you live in a rural area and depend on your car to get to work. But your car's been totaled and you're now waiting for your insurance claim to pay out so that you can get your car repaired and go back to work. Today, that process can take weeks or months as a result of slow manual data entry processes. And it's a real hardship if you're in that situation. We once visited a data entry operation in the middle of the country that was for a wealth management firm. And I saw firsthand what that was like. A very old lady had sent in a handwritten letter that was written in beautiful cursive. It looked like the Declaration of Independence. Her husband had passed away and she needed access to the account. And this was done by a manual data entry team. She just experienced a horrible, horrible event in life, and here she was stuck communicating with a very large wealth management company that was bogged down, not because they want it to be, because it's hard, it's slow to read all those documents. I'll give you a third example that we've also seen involving UCIS. A family applied for a visa to work here in the US. And as a result of a clerical error, after they'd already come here, they found themselves suddenly needing to leave the country, uprooting their entire lives, not because they'd done anything wrong, because of a clerical error. Data entry is one of those things that touches our lives across the spectrum. Those are 3 stories, but there's a very large number of use cases across every single vertical you can imagine, including the 3 largest: insurance, financial services, and government. I would be surprised if many of the people here weren't directly involved in processes that are very document heavy. Typically what happens when you see one of these documents is they're come in by mail in the form of paper or fax or email or some kind of digital submission like PDF. You have a human team that looks at the document, figures out where it needs to go. Does it need to go to underwriting? Does it need to go to claims? Does it need to go to procurement? You have another team that then extracts the information and structures it. Is this an account opening form? What is the person's name? What is the person's last name? That kind of thing. And it turns out that the way this problem is traditionally solved is with armies and armies and armies and armies of people. It looks like a silent call center, like a Roman catacomb of people just sitting at desks in a warehouse that literally converges on a point on the horizon, just silently typing away what they see on one screen into another screen. It's like a wax museum with a pulse. Curiously, that's not sort of the end of the road. Once that data has been extracted and put into a system of record, the data can't really move between systems. And so even though the data is now inside the organization, the minute you need to move it out of your billing system and into your account system, guess what happens next? More data entry. And that's really where HyperScience comes in. It'll take a look at any human-readable document and make it machine-readable such that it can move between paper, between PDFs, between Word documents, through different systems of record by automating the vast majority of the work. Now, we don't automate 100% of it because we need to guarantee your accuracy, but your accuracy needs vary. And so our product allows you to determine the accuracy. Do you need to be 99.5% accurate, 99.7% accurate? You set the accuracy you need, and depending on that, we deliver the automation that we can while meeting your accuracy levels. What customers typically see is about a 90% reduction in headcount, a 10x increase in processing times, and a 78% reduction in clerical errors. Very, very dramatic impact. We're different from our competitors, and there are certainly a handful of them in a number of ways. First and foremost, we're vastly better by the numbers. Any of our customers who have compared us against our competitors will notice that we are by far and away better in terms of both accuracy and automation. We're deployed on-prem. We have a built-in human-in-the-loop system, and there's low or no-code integrations. I'd like to thank especially the FinTech Lab for setting this up. One of the more unique things we've noticed in this program is that the various companies we've spoken to have spoken to us as partners, as mentors, as opposed to just people trying to sell them something. We've learned a tremendous amount through those conversations and really, really appreciate it. Thank you.